We expect the very best from those whose careers were built on wit, charm, and genius, even while they're knocking on death's door. Talk about a lot of pressure. From world leaders to famous comedians, here's a look at some memorable last words. Winston Churchill is one of those people who was simply born to be a leader, something he proved by rising to the occasion during one of the most tumultuous times in world history. By the end of World War II, Churchill had already lived one of the most dynamic and interesting lives in modern memory. He would go on to win the Nobel Prize in Literature and was posthumously named the greatest Briton of all time by a 2002 poll. Before slipping into a coma and dying at the age of 90 in 1965, Churchill solidified his legacy even more by uttering these 5 simple, seemingly sarcastic words: "I'm bored with it all." Hopefully, the afterlife is keeping Churchill entertained. Harvey Korman was a legendary actor best known for his roles in the Pink Panther series, Blazing Saddles, History of the World Part 1, and The Carol Burnett Show. By all accounts, Korman was as genuinely funny, hapless, and animated in real life as he was on screen. When Korman died in 2008 at the age of 81, legendary actor and filmmaker Mel Brooks told the Associated Press, "A world without Harvey Korman, it's a more serious world. It was very dangerous for me to work with him, because if our eyes met, we'd crash to the floor in comic ecstasy. It was comedy heaven to make Harvey Korman laugh."
Do you mind just for the first couple weeks if I just cough?
Before he passed away at the UCLA Medical Center, Korman managed to leave fans with one more great line. According to the book I Told You I Was Ill, Famous Last Words and Astonishing Epitaphs, Korman's departing words were, "Tape Seinfeld for me. Don't worry, Harvey, we're pretty sure heaven has everything on demand." For someone who spent nearly his entire life cracking jokes, the pressure for Groucho Marx to come up with something clever to say on his deathbed must have been unbearable. Whether conspiring with his brothers on film or ribbing guests as the host of You Bet Your Life, Groucho was already a legend before his death. And just like a legend, Groucho's last words have been widely debated since his passing from pneumonia in 1977.
Did you say anything?
Well, I haven't said anything worth hearing.
Well, that's why I didn't hear anything.
Well, that's why I didn't say anything.
Some sources report that Groucho's last line was, "Either I'm dead or my watch has stopped." Others say Groucho passed away saying, "Die, my dear? Why, that's the last thing I'll do." However, according to the book Last Words of Notable People, Groucho's actual last words were less humorous and much more sincere. Before he passed, Groucho reportedly uttered, "This is no way to live." Marie Antoinette, famously misquoted for a quite callous cake quip, wasn't actually the cold jerk history and pop culture has made her out to be.
Let them eat cake.
According to scholars, those not-so-sweet words were probably uttered by an earlier noble, Marie Therese of Spain, when Antoinette was just a kid. So either the quote was misattributed due to the revolutionary hatred toward the nobility, or Antoinette was seriously the worst 10-year-old ever. According to the biography Marie Antoinette: The Journey, the young queen was the victim of her cruel husband's activities, which led to a climate of unrest that demanded her head as sacrifice for Louis XVI's crimes. According to eyewitness accounts described by Tudor and European royal historian Claire Ridgway, Marie Antoinette paused briefly on her way to the guillotine to apologize to her executioner after accidentally stepping on his foot. Her final words were reportedly, "Pardon me, sir, I meant not to do it." Known primarily as the author of such great works as The Importance of Being Earnest, the one-act tragedy Salome, and The Picture of Dorian Gray, Oscar Wilde was tragically jailed in his lifetime for his homosexuality, or as they called it back in the late 1800s, the love that dare not speak its name. After his release from jail 2 years later, Wilde spent his final years drunk, poor, and in relative obscurity, a stark contrast to the vibrancy and humor of his pre-prison years. However, just before dying of meningitis at age 46, Wilde made a final documented quip, which proved the author never completely lost his wit despite unfavorable circumstances. According to sources, Wilde's last words were, "My wallpaper and I are fighting a duel to the death. Either the wallpaper goes or I do." By now, we're guessing both have gone.